Nvidia is rebranding everything. 7600X3D is the worst possible outcome, and AMD doing the right thing for the 9000 series. Let's get in the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Big thanks to everybody for pardoning our absence yesterday as we took off for Labor Day here in the United States. But we're back here with more of the news because there was a lot that took place over the weekend, extended weekend here in the US. Number one, Nvidia rebranded their RTX cards. It is no longer just RTX. They are now powering advanced AI. Just so you know where their priorities lie, how much money they're making, and what they're expecting to do in the future. It's changed. There's new case badges coming out for everybody who partners with them on OEM or DIY GPUs. You're going to start seeing it everywhere. Even your RTX card can't escape the rebranding of AI. And unfortunately, last week, there was a massive rebranding, which is that AnandTech is now shutting down after 27 years of really hard-hitting, in-depth reviews, starting with an AMD processor, ending with an AMD processor. AnandTech is not going to be anymore. Current writers for AnandTech might shift over to Tom's Hardware since they're owned by the same parent company. And in fact, the same parent company owns a ton of these tech publishing sites in the industry, including Digital Foundry. And this is not the first site that their parent company has shut down. DP Review also got closed last year. So it's a big loss for the industry. I just remember meeting Dr. Ian Cuttress at Computex, I believe it was 2019 for the first time, and the questions he was asking Jensen, nobody else was asking. I was like, who is this guy? And then I found out who he is and who he worked for, and now he's off doing his own thing. But AnandTech was a staple in the industry, a reason a lot of people got into tech journalism, tech reviews, all of that kind of stuff. And it's sad to see that history is closed. They're keeping the website up indefinitely, probably will be shut down at some point, but also as they stated, like, they just didn't get the traffic anymore, so they became less and less relevant, and especially with the parent company kind of operating Tom's Hardware and AnandTech and a bunch of these sites that kind of compete for traffic, it was unfortunately looking like it was going to happen. Which I should probably shut down Reece, right? Because like, he's competing with me, sort of, right? For airtime, talking to you. We'll see if he makes the cut.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals on the internet. Happy not Monday. Still kind of feels like a Monday to me, but I hope you guys had a nice long weekend for those of you who did and you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy these deals. It's a short and sweet episode today, but we're starting off with the HyperX Duocast RGB USB condensed microphone, which is currently going for $49.99, making it $50 or 50% off. With how good USB mics have gotten in the last couple of years, even on the budget end, this is a no-brainer and it'll be 10 times better than any headset mic. But then next up, we have the Coolermaster Master Liquid PL360 Flux. This AIO CPU liquid cooler is available in white for only $85, making it $44.99 off. And hey, with that, them's the deals. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, I got a deal for you, which is that when you come here to America again, you can pick up a new handheld at Best Buy. Ayaneo launching their handhelds over at the tag retailer. You can get the KUN. I don't feel comfortable pronouncing that handheld in any way I can imagine the word. Also, the Next Lite is on sale. Both of these at atrocious pricing. This is something that you're just going to want to skip even if it is available in the US. Number one, the KUN. The screen resolution's high DPI, but it's a 7840U, so it's 2 generations old at this point. We're looking at getting our AI HX370 handhelds coming in soon. They're charging $1,000 for it when something like the RG Ally X goes for $200 less. It only has 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD. The Ally X has 24 gigs with a 1 terabyte SSD. Just a no-brainer on that side. And then the Next Lite at $400 is shipping with a 4800U. That is so many generations old at this point. All of these are a skip for me, but it's nice to see that they're available, which is how I feel about the 7600X3D as well, which is one of the things I was hoping for, was that it wasn't going to be a Micro Center exclusive release, and it is. It is a Micro Center exclusive release, and not only that, you can't buy the CPU outright. You have to pick it up in an admittedly fantastically priced bundle. You get a B650 motherboard with Wi-Fi, 32 gigs of RAM, all for $450, including that 7600X3D. It's a great package, great bundle for a $300 processor, but it is a big bummer that they're limiting the options for so many people. But as you think about it, this makes sense for AMD, because how many 7800X3Ds would they sell if this Ryzen 5 was available for most people? A lot fewer is my guess, because a lot of people want to get the best, cheapest gaming CPU that they possibly can, and the 7800X3D is hitting that right now between $350 and $450. If they come out with the 7600X3D, it's going to be stepping on their toes. I know that there could be some argument made as well about they don't have enough stock, since these are likely just faulty 78, 79, 7950 X3D chips, and so they're just selling them so they have fewer of them, which was the alleged argument with the 5600 X3D. But I'm starting to get skeptical that this is just about limiting how many people can pick them up. I think it actually is about selling what they have, but also making sure that this doesn't become the most popular CPU, because they don't want that to happen, especially when they're launching things like the Ryzen 9000 series. But even though it's been a wild journey of all of the reviews and poor negative reception for a lot of the things that AMD's been doing with these CPUs, we're getting new news about them doing the right thing, at least trying to boost the TDP on the 9700 and 9600X. Those are going from 65 watt to 105 watt on an upcoming MSI BIOS. But one of the best things to hear out of this new update is not just the fact that it's going to be coming out, but rather it's actually going to still be covered under warranty. You overclocking your CPU from 65 to 105 watts will be covered according to this report here, and it's going to be baked into the future AGESA updates, so that the X800 series motherboards will get this feature baked in by default, so you don't have to update those motherboards when they launch allegedly sometime at the end of this month. But AMD continuing to release features that make the 9000 series better. If they just launched them at the end of August, beginning of September, as opposed to the end of July, beginning of August, would have been a lot better situation. The development that they made over the course of the 8th month of the year was a lot, and so they could have delayed it. We're waiting for Intel's Arrow Lake. When's that coming out? Next month, allegedly. They haven't even officially said. October, I think 11th is the rumored release date on that, so I don't know. We're supposed to get Lunar Lake tomorrow, but that's or today. It's the 3rd or the 4th. Lunar Lake's coming out, which is neat, but it's competing in a completely different market where AMD's already launched the HX370. They had time. They had plenty of time. And instead of using it to properly make sure that they had all of their ducks in a row, they delayed the launch because they misprinted on the actual IHS. Whoops. Let's see if you had any misprints in the comments that you left on Friday's episode of Hot News. Over on YouTube, we got a Grossgate saying they need to stop normalizing low storage on modern consoles. 1 terabyte isn't enough anymore when you have a purely digital console and games that are taking upwards of 100 gigabytes or even more. 2 terabytes should be the standard at this point. I've got 2 counterpoints to that idea. I don't think digital matters at all in this conversation, because even if you have a disc edition, a lot of the discs are just download the whole game anyways. So that can just be stripped from your argument. Number 2, then how are they going to sell all of these officially licensed SSDs? Who is thinking about these companies that are getting major kickbacks with Seagate and WD and everybody else who has a Xbox or PlayStation branded hard drive? On Sony's side, at least, it's, you can slot in a fast enough M.2. You don't have to get an officially licensed Sony one. But on Microsoft's side, it's clear why they're doing it. They're getting money. But also, I saw conflicting rumors on the PS5 Pro. I think it will come with 2 terabytes if I had to guess. I mean, the PS5 Slim even got a storage upgrade going from 825 to a full terabyte. I'm hoping that it is going to be better. And then Jay Carmen preempting my news, saying RIP to AnandTech. Such a sad start to my Friday morning. I agree. AnandTech, obviously, incredible legacy that they leave behind, but I saw a lot of comments just being like, even though I reference AnandTech on the daily, while especially trying to compile for Hot News, a lot of people were like, I'll miss them, but like, when was the last time I actually even went to that site? So it's a little sad, a little unfortunate, but you'll still have a lot of the writers moving on doing other things. Then we got Z-Shrink saying, I legitimately love the fake news segment from Rikus about Reece losing power. I was watching some of the old episodes during the off-hour stream, and it was one where Reece had a small story arc going on of being chased, and I remember quite enjoying those. I presume it's time-intensive to script, shoot, and edit all of those things, but boy, was it a thing I looked forward to during that time. The arc was that Reece didn't make a jingle for Hot News, and so until he made a jingle, he was fired. We still don't have a jingle for Hot News. He's still supposed to be working on that. That never changed, and I did chase him out. He's now in a completely different country. I left the country, but then he came over here, and then I kicked him out. But then he came back, and then I kicked him out again, and you know, it's been a whole thing. I don't know if Rick has scripted his segment, but yeah, I'm sure it's a lot for him to be able to, especially while we have a time crunch to get these episodes out, to do something like that every time. But it was fun. It was fun seeing him do that. Thank you, Rikus, for making that happen. Then we got Goner Me Leggy saying, seeing pro consoles make me miss the day where a console upgrade was dropping a new RAM cartridge into an N64. Old. You're old. Old. And then Jay saying, best news interruption. You need to send Reece an EcoFlow Delta Pro 3 in Puerto Rico. When I lose power, I use it and it's great. Reece responding to that, which just so everybody who keeps hearing that Reece has power outages, we did get a sponsor of EcoFlow, and to which Reece has responded, I have an EcoFlow. My power was just out for so long that it died. When you lose power for 18 hours, it's hard to really have a battery backup situation in that unless you get like a full, you know, wall installation. He lives in an apartment. It's very complicated to get like actual real battery backup solutions installed. Additionally, sometimes power outages can be way more than just even a single day. It can be a very, very long time. When we lived in South Africa, I think the longest we lost power is like 3 full days, and it's just hard to mitigate against that. But South Africa does have a burgeoning battery backup and solar ecosystem, and we're working on Reece. Okay, all right, we'll see how it all gets fixed. And I'm gonna fix to leave here. I'm fixing on leaving. People say that, so I'm saying it. See you tomorrow.